If you really want to know how to win a fist fight, you need to watch this video. This video is about throwing hands, be it in the ring, in the square circle, or on the streets. Specifically, we're going to illustrate the 3 crucial components of winning a fist fight every time. And we're going to use the new bare knuckle boxing welterweight champion, Austin Trout, to do it. Now, Trout has won his title in only 2 fights, but that's no big shock. You see, Trout is a former boxing world champion who's been in the ring with the likes of Canelo Alvarez, Miguel Cotto, both Charlo brothers, and the list goes on. BKFC, or Bare Knuckle Boxing Championship, is a league that features bare knuckle boxing. Now, in this video, we're going to clearly illustrate how Trout used the 3 critical components of winning his fights. And we're going to contrast this with fighters who did not use these 3 critical components. And as luck would have it, these fighters fought on the same card that Austin Trout won his BKFC title. So you're going to clearly see the contrast when a fighter used these 3 critical components versus fighters who did not use the 3 critical components, and they fought on the same card on the same night. In BKFC, the fighters fight in a circular ring. There are 5 2-minute rounds. At the beginning of every round, the fight starts in the center of the ring, where the 2 fighters stand 3 feet apart on what they call the scratch line. This format makes BKFC fights very fast-paced and very exciting. Now, the first crucial component to winning any fist fight is you must be able to angle off the line of attack. This is critical, especially if you're fighting a bigger, stronger opponent. I see this all the time in the gym, and not just with novice fighters. A stronger athlete will bum rush his opponent and physically overwhelm him with his physicality. Angling off the line of attack is a crucial skill that separates good fighters from great ones. When a fighter simply retreats straight back in the face of an attack, they make a fundamental mistake that can cost them the fight. Let's delve into why moving straight back is a bad idea. Let's look at the fight between Edgar Plazaola versus Derek Gates, which happened on the same night on the same card where Austin Trout won his championship. Remember, these are experienced professional fighters, but one is clearly stronger than the other. Can you guess which one?
I will not be rushing forward in this fight. Round number 1, rushing forward off of scratch.
Gates clearly is not able to angle off the line of attack, and his more physical opponent clearly takes advantage of this lack of ability.
That is ruled a slip by Beltran. Fast start from Edgar Plazaola.
Gates is clearly catching Plazaola's weight, he's catching his strength, and he's catching his physicality. He's also catching those hands. I've seen this plenty of times in the gym, and I've seen this on a lot of those street fighting videos where the bigger, stronger man simply unrushes the guy he's fighting. Angling off the line of attack helps to mitigate the strength advantage of your opponent. There's a reason why they have weight classes in combat sports. Still, even in the same weight class, one opponent is usually more physical, more stronger than the other. But in the streets, there are no weight classes. So what are you going to do when a bigger, stronger man is trying to take your head off? You must be able to mitigate his size and strength by angling off the line of his attacks. Now let's contrast this with Austin Trout, who does know how to angle off the line of attack. From the jump, Trout was able to angle off the line of attack from Diego Sanchez, who is a big, strong, physical opponent. Why moving straight back is a bad idea? First, predictability. Moving straight back makes a fighter's movements predictable. An opponent can easily time their attacks, anticipating where the retreating fighter would be. Secondly, you're trapping yourself. Retreating in a straight line often leads to getting trapped against the ropes or in a corner. This limits defensive options and leaves a fighter vulnerable to sustained attacks. Third, ineffective range management. Moving straight back doesn't effectively change the range in a way that disadvantages the attacker. The pursuer can continue to close the distance without needing to adjust their approach. Please subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. It really helps us with YouTube's algorithm. We're going to discuss the second and third critical component of winning fist fights in just a second. But first, I have to tell you the alternative ways of moving straight back. Austin Trout versus Luis Palomino was Trout's second fight in BKFC, where he won the BKFC welterweight title. Alternative ways of moving rather than going straight back. First, lateral movement. Moving side to side allows a fighter to maintain a defensive posture while also creating angles for counterattacks. This movement can confuse opponents and make it harder for them to land clean shots. Secondly, pivoting. Pivoting off the front or back foot changes the angle of engagement rapidly. This can make an opponent miss their punch and exposes them to counterpunches. It's a quick way to switch the direction of movement without losing balance or offensive readiness. Third, stepping in. Sometimes stepping into an opponent, especially during their attack, can be an effective way to smother their punches and reset the distance. This is counterintuitive, but can disrupt an opponent's rhythm. Fourth, diagonal movement. Moving diagonally combines forward or backwards movement with lateral steps. This not only avoids punches, but also positions the boxer for effective counterattacks from angles the opponent might not expect. Taking angles is more than just defense. It's about setting up offensive opportunities, conserving energy, and maintaining control of the fight. The best fighters are those who can move with fluidity, avoiding predictable patterns, and exploit the openings created by their movements. The second crucial component in winning a fist fight is head movement. I'm going to show you what happens to a fighter who doesn't move his head well. Again, this fight took place on the same card on the same night that Trout won his championship.
Hooks in return. Fast start up from scratch. Big shot and down goes Landon Williams. He's in the black trunks.
Right off jump, Ibarola pounced on Williams' head. And Williams' lack of head movement got him clipped, he got dropped, and ultimately he got stopped. If you want to be able to win fights, especially against heavy hitters, you got to move your head. Now, let's contrast this with Austin Trout's head movement. Head movement in boxing and combat sports is a fundamental aspect of both offense and defense. The importance of head movement. 1. Avoiding punches. The primary purpose of head movement is to make you a moving target, reducing the likelihood of being hit by incoming punches. A stationary head is far easier for opponents to attack and hit with accuracy. 2. Creating angles. Effective head movement allows fighters to create angles for counterattacks. In moving your head and thus your body, you can find openings in your opponent's defense that wouldn't be there if you remain stationary. 3. Conserving energy. Dodging punches with head movement can be more energy efficient than constantly moving your feet to avoid attacks. It allows you to stay in good position to strike back without using as much energy. 4. Psychological pressure. Making an opponent miss can frustrate them, potentially leading to mistakes or hesitation in their attacks. This psychological edge can be as crucial as the physical aspect of fighting.
Big hooks from both men. Perdomo coming forward. Face first. Down goes Bobby Briggs. Taking the count from
Trout moves his head before throwing punches, which can be beneficial for the following reasons. 1. Moving your head before punching can decrease predictability. It makes it harder for your opponent to predict when and where your punches will come from. 2. It sets up angles. By moving your head, you can create angles that make your punches more effective and harder to defend against. 3. It increases safety. It reduces the chance of being countered as you come in to attack because your head isn't in the same spot it was when your opponent last saw it. Not moving your head before punches can make you predictable and easier to counter. It's like telegraphing your moves, allowing your opponent to prepare their defense or counterattack more effectively. Head movement after throwing punches is crucial for several reasons. 1. Avoiding counters. Once you've thrown a punch, you're temporarily exposed to counterattacks. Moving your head immediately after punching makes it harder for your opponent to land a clean counter. 2. Resetting position. It helps you to reset and either prepare for another attack or defend against an incoming one. 3. Maintaining momentum. Continuous movement, including head movement, keeps you fluid and ready to react to whatever your opponent does next. Failing to move your head after throwing punches leaves you in a fixed position making it easier for opponents to hit you back. This static behavior can lead to taking unnecessary damage and potentially losing the fight. The third critical component that you need to win any fist fight is to have an educated lead hand. In a fist fight, an educated lead hand, which includes a variety of jabs and hooks, are utilized to control the pace of the fight, maintain distance, and set up your power shots. Now we're going to watch a fighter who does not have an educated lead hand, or at the very least a decent jab.
Right into the pocket where he wants to be. The jab from the southpaw stands for Bloss. Alvarez coming forward with the left hook. Fighters, as you see, bouncing on their stance. Big swing, counter right hand. Let's walk through that.
You can see that green shorts has absolutely no control of the space that's in front of him. He has no way of setting up his power shots. Red shorts can simply move right in.
15 remaining round number one. Down goes Daniel Alvarez. Mouthpiece out.
Alvarez is hurt. Well, not quite with it. He's got to be careful right now. His legs aren't there. His legs are not there.
Mike Beltran stops this fight.
The previous example was a fight that was on the exact same card where Austin Trout won his welterweight title in the BKFC. On the exact same card. So you get the chance to compare and contrast these techniques or these key concepts. Again, let's contrast this with Trout. Trout's educated lead hand has translated very well to the BKFC. Austin Trout's lead hand was a versatile tool. He used his lead hand in a number of ways. 1. Control and distance. Trout used his jab to maintain control over the distance between him and his opponents. By consistently jabbing, he was able to keep fighters at the end of his punches, where he could land effectively while minimizing the risk of counterattacks. 2. Setting up power shots. Trout's lead hand was a setup punch. He would often use it to gauge his distance and set up his devastating left hand. The jab will force his opponent to cover up or move in a certain way, creating openings for Trout's more powerful punches. 3. Disrupting opponents. Trout's jab was sharp and accurate, which allowed him to disrupt his opponent's rhythm and plans. By jabbing effectively, he could prevent them from mounting their own offense, keeping them defensive and on their heels. 4. His lead hand as defense. Although known for his offense, Trout also used his jab defensively. He could keep aggressive fighters at a distance, preventing them from closing in and reducing their effectiveness. He also used his check hook very effectively and was able to catch an angle with his overly aggressive opponents. 5. Variety and deception. Trout was adept at varying the speed and power of his jabs, which made it difficult for opponents to predict and counter his next moves. This unpredictability added to the effectiveness of his jab and overall strategy. Trout's educated lead hand, honed through years of professional boxing, is a critical component of his success. In traditional boxing, he utilized a variety of jabs and hooks to control the pace of the fight, maintain distance, and set up powerful combinations. This skill has translated very well to the BKFC, where the absence of gloves means that precision and timing are even more crucial. Trout's ability to use his lead hand effectively allows him to create openings, disrupt his opponent's rhythms, and connect with significant strikes, all while minimizing his exposure to counterattacks. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please let me know what I missed or if you have any opinions. Also, I'm going to start a Discord channel where we could really do deep dives into the subject of fighting, boxing, striking, or whatever you have in mind. We can't really go in depth as a community here on YouTube. It's just not set up that way. So in order to provide you with raw footage of training, of behind the scenes of fights that we participate in, we're going to set up the Discord channel so we can really get in depth with film training. I want to answer all your questions. I want to see your training, and we could do that on the Discord channel. So please subscribe to the channel. Stay on the lookout so you can get all that information, because it's coming fast and it's coming very soon. I appreciate you. We're out.